hit your head. Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Now I don't need any snacks or
I know. Poor Manuka. She booped her head on the coffee table.
So you need this strained?
Yes. And put in fridge.
All of the stuff is surfaced at the top.
Of course. We give it a stir.
What do you mean a stir?
I don't know. Mix all the good tea goodness in it.
No, I mean that the tea floated to the top and is now just on the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Really strained out. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Can you pour it through the strainer?
Into what?
I don't know.
Talk to the chat.
Okay.
Figure out this mess.
Hi everyone. Hi Bianca. Hi Coralia. Hi Thinkfly. Hi Eerie Blue. Hello Sally. Hello Gabby. Hello Tuesday. Wow, on time. Gabby, how dare you? I know, we showed up on time. There was like 10 minutes to go. And we were like, oh, we should be streaming. Whoops.
It was 5 minutes to go.
5 minutes to go, sorry. I haven't been here in so long. Hello, Ollie. Hello, Debbie. Unknown. Little Mango. Rocket. Spaceship. Lunar Eclipse. Pixel. Chloe. Eerie. Dang, there's so many of you. Sorry I didn't come to the stream for like a month. That's okay. We haven't been streaming as much because of difficulties. Sorry, not sorry. How dare you?
Hello.
Hello.
I have returned.
Hello, Gracie. Hello, Caro.
I'm kind of sick.
No.
I'm kind of a little bit sick because I don't know why. I think I ate something wrong.
Yeah.
And then I woke up at 5 a.m. Sorry, 6 a.m. And I've been up ever since.
Ugh.
I did get fish today.
That's
My
true.
big tank now has 3 lovely, I was about to say ladies, but a lovely harem of 3. They're a poly couple. I can't tell I'm sick 24/7, Gavel-san. Thank you. I'm in love with the painted cupboard.
Cats, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. She was sniffing her toy, and then I slowly put my foot down. She went, ah! And, like, jumped and ran away. That's what happened. I wonder what Fado's up to. Fado, what are we doing in the other room?
Are you in trouble?
Come here, trouble boy. This week has been long.
Oof.
I'm the worst of the worst. Writer's block? Oh, no.
Oh no.
I'm at that point in my writing where I'm like, I hate everything I am writing.
Oh no. Go be strong.
Yeah, well, strong isn't for the weak, and I am the weak. I'll be strong. Alright, I was gonna look at your comments and read all of these questions.
Alright.
So, if you guys got questions, speak now. Okay, don't, like, flood me with them immediately, because I won't. But, yeah. And after this, this will be kind of a shorter stream. It'll be an hour. And after this stream, we have the movie night for the patrons. I'm sorry we've been so bad at telling everyone what's going on.
This month I just forgot to work on the calendar.
Yeah, this month I forgot to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and next week is the critique stream.
Yes.
Yes. So if you want your art critiqued, speak now and
Become a patron.
become a patron at the $8 patrons.
Yeah.
It's the $5 for people to get on the... Really? On get off.
Cats. Trouble.
Oh my god, sorry, there's another one up to trouble too.
Cats.
What are you doing behind the fence? Don't. Don't be like this, okay?
I asked this in the first stream and you said next video. Hope all your patrons enjoy your movie. Is mayonnaise an instrument? Very good.
Sorry, I returned. For movie night, we watched the original Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like opening it up to all of, just like maybe this time, or next few times, I don't know, opening it up to $1 patrons. So if you want to watch Pokemon with us, I'll give it to anyone. Discord able,
Yes.
discordable,
Discordable.
just so some people can hang.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm watching him chew your pocket.
Stop. Clear.
The cats are like, it's time to cause
Trying
trouble.
to attack everything.
Sorry. Let me read. I'm all over the place because my cats are causing trouble. What's your opinion on using art style contrast to deliver a message? Example, simple art style for characters dreaming. That's fine. As long as, like... I'm very distracted by all these cats causing trouble right now.
I know.
Guys, I get that you're cats, and this is what you do. I'm gonna...
Sorry, so the question was, can you use style to convey a message? Oh no. Oh, I'm a fool.
To convey stuff. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. So, yeah, I think that is a good idea. I mean,
It's Fado. Fado too.
oh, hello, Fado, too.
Sorry.
Puts Fado's color on Lear. Sorry, so yeah, I think that's a good way to do things. It really just depends on your intent. Like, if you want to use the same style for everything, that's okay. If you want to use different styles and really extreme styles to portray certain things, that's also okay. I guess if you're really worried about it, maybe you can try out all your different styles and look at them together and just make sure that they feel like cohesive.
How do you avoid cornering yourself when it comes to writing plot points? Even if you got big plot points fleshed out, do you take time off of it for a little bit? How do you avoid cornering yourself? Do you take time off of it? I'm not sure what you mean entirely there. Like, there's gonna be stuff between big plot points, if that's what you're wondering. Avoiding cornering yourself is just like, if you find yourself getting cornered, just go back and rewrite things or change things so that you aren't ending up in corners. How do you avoid dumping too much stuff into one scene? I feel like I'm doing that, and I don't know if I am dumping too much stuff in at once or not. Usually you can tell if someone reads it and you ask them what they got out of the scene and they're starting to miss information because there's so much going on. Or if you're posting your comic and most people are like missing key plot points that you feel like you addressed, then that's a problem. I tend to just, when you want to start with like adding some sort of new information, you can add like a little sampler of it in earlier chapters, sort of in the same way that you would add foreshadowing. Like, simple thing. Like, maybe a couple scenes from now are going to revolve around a cat in your scene that's causing mischief. Like, maybe you can add a little sample of cat mischief in the background of an earlier scene so that it all kind of ties together without it without it starting to, like, overtake your story. It's like, you gotta... Your scene should have, like, a main job to it and shouldn't be too all over the place. How do you design outfits for your characters?
I think, well, first you want to start with, like, understanding the shape language of your character. And kind of choosing outfits that kind of fit their mood as a character as well. So, for example, like, if they're a really stylish character, you'll want to start looking into like, I guess like fashion. Like say it's like a modern, like times fashionable character. You can start looking at like what fashionable people are wearing, and then kind of pick clothing choices that you like, and then I would start with like doing silhouettes of your character to make sure that the shapes work, and then start to add details according to your shapes and your character's like style and mood and stuff, and draw like lots of different variations on it. Because just say you're drawing a character in like a leather jacket, there are different styles of leather jacket you can try. There are different ways you can wear a leather jacket you can try.
Yeah.
Like, are they someone who wears, like, a jean jacket around their waist, or do they wear it on their shoulders, or maybe they're weird and one of the sleeves is missing. Like, you can try out a whole bunch of different things. And the more you can tie in, like, their shapes, the more, like, it'll seem like it'll fit them.
Yeah, and also look for repeating motifs in their outfits.
Yeah, repeating patterns and motifs.
Like, yeah, if you have like strings on the top, add strings on the bottoms too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like with your outfit, you want to be able to divide your character in quarters and have it all sort of match into each other. It'll all feel like the same character.
Yeah, so the right side of the outfit and the left and the top and bottom all feel like they're part of the same outfit.
Yeah.
And it's also good when you're picking colors for your outfits to understand how the outfit is going to overlap. So for example, if you're going to give a character like black gloves, you might not want to also give them like a black t-shirt, so that if they ever have their gloves over their t-shirt, like, putting their hand on their chest or something, the glove will disappear into the shirt. And it also helps differentiate like different parts of the body and adds like visual interest to have.
Okay, I think that's pretty thorough.
Sorry.
What's your process for the type of painting that you're doing? They say that they like your cover.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel really good because I'm very nervous about this cover. So usually what I start with is like I'll block in my flats. I think I can kind of show you what I've done through like hiding some of these layers. So like so I kind of build up with a new layer with every kind of new idea that I'm going with. So like get rid of that. So like I start with my flats, and then I might take like a soft brush and start putting in like where the shadows are, and then putting in highlights and shadows, etc. Then I might put like a transparent layer to kind of get an idea of what the shadows might look like. And then I just keep building up. And then this one's like, I changed how she looked a little bit and kind of started rendering the shadows more and the different planes on her face and on her outfit. And then I smoothed it out with like a really soft brush, like an airbrush type thing. And now I'm just adding more shadows and more like dark hues and stuff. And then, and now I'm just kind of building it up, trying to tighten it up quite a bit.
Should thumbnailing be done chapter by chapter? I like to do that.
Yeah.
But that's just so you can get stuff out and not like if you're doing a small thing, maybe you can do it all at once, but it's a lot to do a whole thing at once.
Yeah.
It's sometimes nice to like switch through things. I like to do it at least scene by scene at the very like I wouldn't do it one page at a time. Like I wouldn't thumbnail and then put out a piece and thumbnail and put it out. Like at least do a whole scene so everything can be cohesive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can get a bigger picture.
Mm-hmm. It always helps to be able to see kind of like everything at like an overview.
Are outlines supposed to be vague? If you want a vague outline, it's really up to you how your outline's gonna look. Because some people don't even outline at all. Some people are super detailed about it.
Yeah.
Cats. The stream has started. Time to cause trouble. How do you come up with poses for drawing? I'm just working my way through these guys.
How do you come up with poses? I think it usually starts with like
A mirror.
sometimes. I mean, I think so. It usually has to do with like my intention with the pose. So, for example, like, do I need a fighting stance?
Do you need a sad-looking
Do
kitty?
I need a sad-looking kitty? And then I start to like. It's hard because I usually have an idea of what I want in my mind, or I'm like, oh, I want a dynamic kind of like superhero cover-looking shot, or like, I want. This one is like, I want Lace looking all sad and hopeful and scared, and
How convey that?
yeah, how to convey that. And then like, I usually just try out a few different poses of like different hand positions and different like shoulder positions, and just play around. And I usually grab reference as well if I'm having trouble with a pose. And I guess it's just important to like keep it dynamic. Meaning like, well, dynamic is like a whole video onto itself.
I'm working on a comic right now, and I'm really struggling with it. I get stressed with getting everything looking good, and when I don't, I give up. How would you combat this? Just gotta push through. Everybody's comics are terrible, even ours. Like, I know they don't probably look terrible to a lot of people, but there's a lot of mistakes in comics, because you just gotta power through, keep going, remind yourself you're only getting better, you know? Every mistake you make is something you're just learning, and just power on. It doesn't have to be perfect. Perfectionism has no place in comics. You have so much work to do.
Yep.
And for the most part, people don't look at your panels as long as you do.
Exactly. People will look at them for maybe a few seconds.
Yeah, so
Which
if they look
sucks,
wonky,
but...
don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
People like get way too up their own bum about anatomy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like your fundamentals and anatomy. It's like anatomy's part of it, but you know, sometimes as long as you get your message across, that's what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
You know? What type of writing prep work do you do for a comic? Like character bios and stuff? Basically all the stuff I've been talking about in like the past videos, like with character and world building, and soon I'll be talking about plot. Like that's the kind of prep work I do, and getting my general ideas down. Like if bios help you, you can do them, but I don't really often. What I tend to do is I do what the frick. I have a page of like, what the frick is this? Except I don't say frick. It's usually what's the frickin' deal with X character, and then I just write until I figure out what their frickin' deal is.
Well, what gets included in their frickin' deal? Is it like their motivations, their background?
I don't know. It depends on what I need. I just write until if I understand.
Okay.
It's usually like, okay, what is her problem? Like, why is she not working? And it's like, I find this character boring because she's vapid and has no struggles. What are possible struggles that could make her work? Like, I just go down, because each character has its own little problematic journey for me to unpack. It's me and Eunice right now. Adding on to Unknown's question, how do you design outfits when your characters aren't of the variety that wear the same thing every day? Well, you need to be aware of how many days are gonna happen in your comic. Like I tend to take I take a too much approach to this, where I actually have like a calendar for like 9 point, but at least they're wearing all the same clothes. But like, you need to know how many outfits you're gonna design, and then you want to pull in the same elements as Ursula was talking before. Like if you want to go rewind all that, like it's just more work for yourself, but it's kind of the same direction. Where it's like, okay, what is this outfit? How can I pull in a lot of the same motifs of the old outfit? How do I still bring in the character? Like, you want each outfit to kind of still tell the same story, maybe a little bit of a different maybe a little bit of a different spin depending on the day and what this scene is going to require of the character. Like if you know a sad scene's coming up, like make sure you pick the right outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Like make sure you know which outfit your character is gonna die in. That's a good one. Make sure you know what this outfit has to do. Yeah. Sorry, I meant to put in the backgrounds. What? Okay. How do you gather enough confidence to start your comics? My friends and I have been working on a story for 8 years and are very, very ready to begin, but we don't know where or how. Well, I feel like you just gotta watch like all our videos. Just do it. Just post it somewhere. If you have comics done, if you've been working on your story, just get a comic done and put it out there. No more dragging your heels. Just fail faster.
Yep.
Is that a child?
There's a child outside
Okay.
screaming.
I thought it was a sheep. Outlines. Well, it looks like my outline is detailed. RIP. I won't finish it. It's later than 2 months. Just go. You gotta go. If you feel like the pace that you're going at is unsatisfactory, just speed up. And if you don't end up liking that, slow down. Like you just gotta figure out what pace works for you. We used to go at a breakneck pace, and we didn't like what our results were. But at least we're getting stuff out. And now, it's going good. What's your advice on good pacing and reveals? Well, that's gonna be like a whole bunch of videos. Pacing. I think the most important thing to note about pacing is there's no such thing as good or bad pacing. There's no such thing as really good or bad anything when you're talking about like a creative project. It's better to describe things in terms of like what if you're getting your intention across. That's all that kind of matters. Because one of my favorite things to do, Ursula and I were enjoying this, is to read negative reviews of your favorite stories.
Yes.
And you'll very quickly realize that what is good for you was bad for another person. Because we were reading reviews of like Wolf Children, and they were like, "Oh, nothing happens in the story. It's so slow. The pacing is awful." It's like, no, the pacing is perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It is a slow story, and
but
yeah,
it's also very tight.
Yeah, there's a lot when it comes to like learning how to control your own pacing, and that's probably a lot of like questions people have is like, how do I make good pacing? It's like, how do I control my pacing? How do I get like the right amount of pace? That's the whole thing, and I'll definitely go into that later in this 100-day thing.
Mm-hmm.
Should you have someone read over your outline before scripting? I don't always. I definitely don't. It's up to you though. Like, I wouldn't say you should. I say you can if it helps you. Me, it would just make me not want to write the story because I like to surprise people, like Ursula.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna edit it anyways, so it's not like if you don't do it, your story is ruined.
But I've done, because I've done when I'm writing something, I'm like, Bones, what do I do with this? And sometimes we'll just brainstorm together, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm finicky. Yeah. I detail mine so I don't forget stuff. Talking about. What are you drawing? This is the cover for 9-point issue number 2.
Heck yeah.
Decided to work on something. I'm just gonna read things with question marks here. How do you develop characters without them being too similar? Don't make them too similar. If you're feeling that they're too similar, people are saying that, then you need to look into it. I feel like you deep down you know already how to make them not similar, you know? Like give them different backstories, different personalities. If you're feeling like if you feel like you're always making the same sorry, I need water, I'm gonna die. Lots of talking.
Yeah, because your character's like...
I feel like I feel like if you're always making the same character, you might be kind of afraid of breaking the mold and doing something different. You know, just make something over the top, and then you can always pull back.
That's true.
You know. Can you up your audio? We've upped it as high as it can go. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have such an audio problem.
Mm-hmm. Audio and connectivity. Yeah, I think it can also be like. Yeah, I think you're right. It can come from like being afraid to like cause trouble and cause conflict or like try a new kind of character.
Print or webcomics. I have a whole video on that. I'm not gonna spoil my opinions. Sorry. I lost where I was. Oh, okay. I was at the spoiler. That's the one dropped. Okay. I really want to make a comic with all of my characters. The only thing is I need to make over 100 characters for it to work. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Any tips on characters diverse and unique when there's a lot? 100 characters. Build up slowly to 100 characters.
Yeah, if you introduce too many characters too fast, people are going to get confused and leave.
You're going to get confused. That sounds like a lot of...
Like, are there any characters you can, like, mush together to make, like, if they serve the same purpose, can they just be one person?
I'm making an AU of warrior cats. Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
Well, it's just kind of splitting them off into groups, and it's a lot of work to do that. Yeah, and some will be minor characters, which, yeah, you just gotta be careful with pushing.
I think it is easier if you're writing, like, fan work.
Yeah.
Because you're writing it for people who already have, like, a connection with these characters, and it takes less time to introduce them.
That's true. Yeah, and you just gotta make those designs really pop.
Yeah.
Poppin'. Printer comics. Because in publishing, it's just like, blah, blah, blah. Lace reminds me of my cat, Everly.
Oh. That's a cute name.
That means your cat reminds us of Amalthea.
Yeah.
Amalthea, our cat.
Our kitty. Meow meow.
How do you determine if you should show a plot point versus telling it to the reader? If it's important, show that. If it's not important, don't show it. If it's exciting to show, I'd show it, usually. If it's just sort of backstory stuff, sometimes you can drop it. But you have a comic. Do a flashback. You can do it over one panel. It's really easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like when you have film where you actually have to cut to something for a while. You can just pop in and pop right back out. Pretty easy. Oh my goodness. Looking for question marks, guys.
Give me your question marks.
If you want a cool toned color palette, how do you color African American / black characters without their skin looking grayish or dull?
Oh, well, like, you...
There's a fly, hold on.
Okay. So I think you shouldn't be necessarily dulling your cool colors, because if you're drawing someone who has, like, who's dark-skinned, and say you're doing, like kind of like a, I don't know. So you're probably in here, like, orangey, and, like, you want it to be very warm.
Talk louder. You're
Sorry.
muttering into your tablet.
So you, sorry, I have to think. Yeah, so you want it to be, like, you know, very warm and, like, rich in color. And say it's, like, a night scene. What I usually do for warm colors, whether it's, like, yellows or peaches or browns or whatever, like, I tend to just bring it down to a purple. So you can still keep it fairly saturated and not make it, like, kind of chalky and ashy. and still imply that like they're dark skinned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, I think in that case you need to kind of work on, like, learning color relativity and seeing what combos really work. Because you can imply so many colors by using...
Oh, they're all up top. Sorry, looking at my fish.
You can imply colors without using the actual color. Because it's like, if you look at, say, like, a forest, if you think about trees, you're like, oh, well, the bark is brown and the leaves are green. But if you actually look at photos of trees and forests, you'll see that, like, a lot of it is blue or gray or...
Get your color picker on there.
Yeah. And it can help if you know, grab photographs of, like, people with dark skin in cool lighting and see what the actual values of their skin are.
Are you going to make videos on painting tutorials and brushes? Listen, Ursula just uses default brushes, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
She just uses the default Photoshop brushes.
You can do anything with the defaults. You can make your own textures with them.
How much time is approximately good to spend on a single page? Really depends on what your art looks like. If you want it to go fast, make it a faster page to do. If you're spending too much time and you want to go faster, just simplify your process a lot more. If not, if it's taken a long time and it is going good, it's just your pace, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. I think the thing I remember, it was like an animator or something who said that like over time you're only ever gonna get slower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so start fast.
Start fast.
Start
and
fast.
You'll slow down
Yeah.
as you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's cute. Thank you so much for your videos. Thank you for watching.
Oh, yeah.
How do you make characters look their age? I keep making 14-year-old characters look 20 or something.
Oh, I have so much trouble with that. I think you definitely need to...
Look at references, for one.
Totally. Look at references, because it could be like, you know, you're drawing the shoulders too broad, or you're making, like, the ears too small, or something like that.
Do lots of life studying.
Yeah.
Of different ages
Mm-hmm.
and body types.
Yeah.
And then learn how to kind of simplify that down into a comic style.
Yeah. You can...
It's good to start from a place of reality if you're having trouble depicting reality.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because when I learned how to draw people, I learned from drawing, like, adults. So then, yeah, I had to really force myself to, like, what do kids look like? How are they different than adults? Yeah.
What are some good tips to have in mind when asking people to beta read your scripts? I'll do a video on that. But basically, when people are... Sorry, I said beta. Beta fish. When they're beta reading, it's good to just ask people what their impression is of each chapter or scene, what they got out of it, and whether or not they found anything boring, confusing, or awesome. Because... or did not believe. It's like A, B, C, D. It's like... Because you want to know what's boring, because if they're bored, that's a problem, or could be. They might not be your demographic, but if a lot of people are bored, then you may have a problem there. If they're confused, you're going to have to work on that confusion, unless, of course, you want them to be confused at that point. Didn't believe, you want to make sure you're managing people's suspension of disbelief, and you want to know what's awesome about your story so that you don't hate yourself and also don't accidentally fix something awesome about your story and make it and get rid of it because you think it's bad. And you just want to know what people are getting out of your story because it helps you understand why they're confused and helps you diagnose problems.
Yeah.
Any advice on working on a comic with another person, specifically setting boundaries? Always have a contract so that you know what is expected of each of you. Like, a contract sounds spooky, but it just helps you in the end to know who has the final say on things. Like, make sure to manage that stuff before you even start your project, rather than assuming everyone is like okay with things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about all the things that could possibly go wrong and plan for them before they happen.
Yeah.
How do you know when to give up on an idea? That's a tricky one. I think I have a video on that planned. But basically, if you absolutely hate it, and you've been hating it for a long time, it's good to just shelve it, and you can always come back to it if the feeling passes. If you start noticing you have like a pattern of doing this though, you might want to just push through. Like if you just always get to the middle of your story and are like, well, I'm done, then you might need to like address that greater issue of like your fear of middles or your fear of ends. Or you could be me and I just like write half the story one year and then another year I'm like, I finished now.
I have percolated enough.
It's not even percolate. I just come back and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish. What are some free cheap apps for formatting scripts? Text, Word, whatever word processor you have already is enough to make scripts. Like comic scripts don't need to be in a special format or anything.
There's like no standard.
There's absolutely no standard even in the industry. So whatever is able to get across to you or your writer or your artist what you want to do, that's a good script program.
Yep.
How do you find a creative partner? We have that in the Discord. Oh yeah, someone said that.
Yep.
There's like we have a listicle type thing where people can ask.
And there's lots of writers and artists. So
any tips on drawing obese characters?
Reference.
Yeah, reference.
Yeah. If you're drawing anyone of any body type, it's best to just get references and learn how they actually look.
Yeah. How do you simplify your plot? I write mine down. I keep 1 to 2 pages full. I struggle to make it more simple. There's lots of things that will adjust your scope. If your plot's getting like too far, you might need to cut characters. Like it's okay to you can save the trimmings and grow them into a new story later. You know, you can propagate new stories based on those trimmings.
It's a cute metaphor.
Yeah, sometimes it's like removing storylines, and you might go on to say like, no, if I remove this storyline, how will this plot point happen? So you can make it work. I know you can. You're a smart writer. Getting rid of this story, a few storylines here and there, can really adjust your scope a whole bunch. Because each character plot arc you add, like I know in terms of novels, you add like 25,000 words per like plot line, and you add pages and pages per plot line you add to a comic. So if it's getting out of control, you gotta reel it back. You gotta cut some characters and tell them, you know, you can have a spin-off later, or you can have your very own comic. Do you have furry? Are you furries? Do you have fursonas? Yes, we are furries.
Yes. Okay, my fursona.
And tell me only about your fursona.
My fursona is a calico cat, but instead of orange spots, she has pink spots. Yeah. And she has a unicorn horn and 4 angel wings.
Aren't the hearts, like the pink spots
hearts? Right, yes. They're shaped like hearts. That's my fursona.
I'm a deer. I forget what kind of deer. It's a very specific deer.
Oh,
I also have an otter one too.
Yes, a space otter.
Yes, with 4 eyes. But what's your opinion on writing dark topics? Do you have any tips on writing about that stuff? Research a whole bunch. If it's from personal experience, that's cool too. But also make sure to research everyone else's experience with the same topic, because you're not a monolith. Everyone has their own details to it. Be respectful,
Yeah. Yep, you can always get sensitivity readers.
Yeah.
If you're concerned. Like if
especially with dark topics, and dark, very personal problems that a lot of people deal with. Make sure to have people read it before you put it in public, and that should help you.
Yeah.
from getting into any sort of trouble.
Yeah.
And if you're like a young, small comic artist, it's very, very unlikely that any sort of trouble will come your way. I've written a lot of stuff that was edgy, but it's fine. It all turned out good.
Yeah.
How do you guys start making comics? That's like the last few videos. We've been talking all about it. We'll talk about like the actual very start of comics soon.
Yes.
Because first it's with prep work, and then it's actually just going in.
Yep.
How do you avoid falling into the same stereotypes for characters or types of stories? You're always going to fall into some stereotypes, and if you feel like you're always falling into the same ones, just take note of it and don't do it. Like, try to be self-aware as much as you can.
Yeah.
You know? Tropes exist for a reason. Like, some of them probably should be changed, but they exist as sort of storytelling shorthand, and they can be helpful. Just don't over-rely on them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm getting so close to the bottom of here.
Dang.
Your Sona sounds adorable.
Oh, thanks.
How long does it take to get a fan base, and how big is a big fan base? I don't know. I think a big one is like when you're making like 100K on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That's the dream, ain't it?
The dream.
How do you get one? How long does it take? I don't know. That's a mystery to everyone. It can take years. Like it usually takes years and years and years.
Something you
At
always
least a decade.
You gotta
probably
remember,
30.
You gotta remember the 20-year
30
career.
decades.
30 decades. Okay, so you gotta remember the 20-year career, which is like, there's this myth that people, like, just overnight become famous. And usually the reason you think that is because you've never heard of this person ever, and then suddenly you see their work everywhere. But usually they've been, like, putting out work for, like, years, just they were small and no one ever heard of them. So just be prepared to work at it for a long time before you start getting, like, a lot of readers. It's hard. It's really hard, don't get me wrong.
How do you think of poses and how to lay each panel differently so it's more interesting? I keep thinking of the same scenes with same speech. That usually helps. Like, you can think of it in the art stage, sure, but think of it in the writing stage. I think by doing novels, I've definitely paid more attention to this, because when I'm writing a novel, like, I'm in charge of making things interesting all the time.
Sorry.
Whereas, like, in a comic, I can rely on Ursula to make cool page layouts and make things fun. But, like, when you're writing a novel and you have people sitting around talking all the time over and over again, you're just like, you start to get bored and you go a little crazy. So it kind of is important when you're in the scripting phase to be like, wow, this scene's going to be boring. Like, we've written this scene a million times. And some easy ways to change it up is think of something interesting they can be doing while this information is coming out, like burying a body, or an interesting place they can be doing a conversation, like in a volcano, while they're disposing of another body.
Oh
like,
my god, there's so much murder.
Like, give them something to do, and then you get poses, because what are some poses? Oh, like getting the shovel, lifting things while they're talking, and you use those different actions to emphasize points. So just think about action and place while you're writing, because that'll help you a lot. Because if you keep ending up in the same spaces where they all come around the kitchen table and discuss like what's going on, like, you're gonna inevitably end up with very boring scenes.
Yeah.
And a lot of work for yourself as an artist.
Yes.
I remember one of, like, my writing teachers was talking about, like, a script she was doing, or a novel, and she got sick of her characters constantly coming to the kitchen and talking, until eventually like she just had her characters throw the table aside and they lifted the floorboards and they found something like underneath it. It's like, don't write yourself into those kind of boring spaces.
Like, wasn't it, I forget who the quote is from, but they were like, I'd love to just write about like beautiful people like sitting around drinking wine and like having sex, but that doesn't really make like interesting stories.
I mean, it can.
Yeah.
How do you usually find sensitivity readers? Just look for friends. I think, I don't know, it's hard to find sensitivity readers. Like, if you, another thing to consider though, with sensitivity readers, if you can't find anyone in the specific group that you're talking about to read your book, you might not be the right person to be writing about this topic. Like it's good to like at least know some people. Like if you're writing about depression and you haven't talked to anyone with depression, like you don't even have depression, and like you're writing about their experience, and then you realize, oh, I've never really met any person like this, then like you should work on finding people to talk to about their experiences first, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. It can be hard, though, I understand. It's just, it depends on the type of sensitivity reader. Like,
yeah. Because if it's like...
Because sometimes you can just go to, like, forums and things, like, where people discuss things, and you're like, hey, I wrote a book about this, and I'm looking for people to look it over and make sure it's not terrible. And, yeah.
Yeah, Twitter's a good space to talk to people.
Yeah, I've gone on Reddit sometimes.
Reddit, yeah, you can find really specific subreddits
yeah,
about, like...
yeah, I would just go to, like, those specific groups. But like, hey, I wrote a thing.
Yeah.
I wrote a thing. Would anyone be interested? How many panels is too many? You could have 1 million panels on a page if you had a large enough page. Like, as long as you're getting the story across, that's fine. And as long as the composition is doing what you want it to do, you're fine.
Yep.
If you are getting really cramped and cluttered, then you need to pull back.
Yep.
We know that we can share webcomics on Tapas and Webtoons, but can you elaborate more on sharing webcomics on your own site and how to make said site? I have no clue, guys.
The site, I've been wanting to update it, but there's like no CMSs, like comic management systems.
Yeah, they're
hard. All bad.
Get help from someone other than us, basically.
Yeah.
The
only positive thing about having your own site is that if something happens to like Webtoons or Tapas, like they shut down or something, your comics are still alive somewhere on the web. But other than that,
it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm writing a short romance story, but I'm not sure how to make the main character's love believable within limited pages. Do you have any tips on making a romance believable in a short amount of time? Tons of people are automatically going to say it's insta-love, because that's just like what people do.
That drives me crazy.
It's all about finding chemistry really quickly. It's hard, man. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank.
I think part of it is having characters show interest in each other. Because honestly, that's kind of how it works in real life. You see someone, you think they're cute, or like you see them doing something, and it's like, oh, I also like that thing. Let's go talk. So they're showing interest in each other is really important. Number 2 is having, say, something in common that they can like have common ground with, whatever that is. If it's something they're both interested in, it could be they're both stuck together. That's a good start for a romance. And then third, I think they need to kind of, whether they know it or not, they have something to offer each other. So for example, if you have one character who's very closed off emotionally, having their love interest be someone who's very open emotionally and can help them work on that, I think that immediately gives them like an interesting chemistry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My fish are like swimming around
I
and they're
know.
so cute.
They're really cute.
The boy is so like shy.
I know.
The girl's just like, yeah.
Let us talk about our fish.
The other girl's pretty chill too. Like she seems like really down to earth.
Yeah.
Where the guy's like timid and then like the spotty one is just like, I own the world. It is all mine. I have no fear. Yeah, I got shipped in a plastic bag, but I'm ready immediately to live my new life in my new home.
Heck yeah.
It was too cramped. She's like excited to be her own person because there was like so many
Yeah.
other fish that looked like her, whereas the other ones like kind of had their own personality. Like she always felt thrust upon. She was just
Aw.
like, just because I'm spotty like the rest of them doesn't mean like, you know, our spots are different. It's like no one can tell her apart, and she's like, ugh. Anyway, sorry.
I like this story. This fish. How to characterize a fish really quickly. Bones McKay.
Can you tell a life story without a narrator? Yeah. I have an opening. I have an opening for a summary of my OC's late life, but then I struggle with not making it weird by inserting a narrator. I don't know. I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
You don't need a narrator if you
No.
don't want one. Is a sensitivity reader like a proofreader? Because only proofreaders I have from my mom. A sensitivity reader is someone who comes from a background similar to that of like characters that you're writing, and they make sure that like you're doing it right and not like offensively, basically.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like say you're a straight person and you're writing about a lesbian character.
Yeah.
You show it to a lesbian reader who can tell you like, "Oh, this is a stereotype. Don't do that."
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, like you get a few lesbian readers and they're like, yeah, this thing that you're doing is a really frustrating stereotype that's like in every book.
Yeah.
And like everyone tells you that and you're like, oh, I'm glad someone told me.
They can also
Or it's
tell
like,
you,
oh, like yeah, they can just tell you like the ins and outs of like,
yeah, they can be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this doesn't actually happen." Like say an expert would also be a good sensitivity reader. So say you're writing about like taking care of horses and you've never taken care of horses. If you talk to someone who works with horses, they can be like, "Oh, this
yeah.
doesn't make sense."
It's similar, but
Yeah.
like sensitivity readers
That's
usually
true.
for like marginalized people
That's
or
true.
like identities like that.
Yeah.
Is it super expensive to print your comic books? I don't know. Depends on what you mean by super expensive. If it's black and white, you can do it on prints on demand sites, which is like zero cost to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you want to print the book and bring it to you, but they'll print it for you and ship it for you to people,
Yep.
and at no cost. You just get the money. Lulu's the best. I know there's a whole bunch, but Lulu's the best. I know it's expensive, but it's the best print on demand site for comics. The page quality is just really nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how to find people online. What comic subreddits do you go on? I don't really do many comics subreddits. I'm usually on Am I the A-hole? Or Ask Reddit. I'm very basic. I also like Kids Are Effing Stupid. It's so cute.
I also like Aw.
Yeah.
And like all the Aw dogs and Aw cats or whatever.
Yeah.
Just cute pictures.
Any advice on writing challenges? Do it. Do your challenge.
Do it.
Try your best. Work really hard in the first week and then slack off in the second week and then try and catch up. That's usually what happens.
Yeah.
It's like NaNoWriMo type stuff. With my cat designs, I'm making them pretty unrealistic with lion's tails and names and hyena, like black fur things. How do I know I've gone too far with it? Well, if you want to push it really far, like, that's fine. Like, if it feels too far for you, that's kind of the point. Or if you're getting too much flack for it, and you agree with said flack, then it's too far.
Yeah.
But don't let people push you around if it's your vision.
Yep.
When your beta readers / viewers feel confused looking at them. What? As in, what the heck what the hell? Hamster hell. Are they? I can't even guess their personality type confusion. So what's your opinion on foreshadowing, the topic of future chapters in your current chapter? Chapter 2 takes place in a convention. So we see con posters in chapter 1. Yeah, that's just good. I like spooky subreddits.
Oh yeah, like creepypastas and stuff. Those are fun.
Yeah, I'm like addicted to like Ask Reddit, honestly. I just got a drawing tablet. Awesome. That'd be
Congrats.
fun. Do you know any interesting comic or art related podcasts? Not really.
Hard, yeah.
We're not like super like I find just because we're not like I don't know, we watch a lot of other like podcasts and shows because like we do so much comic stuff, we usually need a break.
Yeah, cause like yeah, cause I find I'm usually looking for like inspiration for my comics more than like studying craft these days.
Yeah.
Whereas like in the past I was more interested in like when I was first starting in comics I was like, how do you even do comics? So I'd go to like panels and workshops at cons and stuff.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, I just want to listen to like stories.
Yeah.
And just get inspired.
Or I'll be like researching something tangential to comics.
Totally.
Or you'll be like, I want to learn a new part of art.
Yeah.
Do you have any comic or manga suggestions? I also don't read a lot. I read a lot of nonfiction.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this on Twitter, but like I don't read a lot of fiction or comics or watch movies. I'm really boring, guys. The last book I read was like a genetics book. Like
A cat genetics book.
heck yeah, cat genetics. I didn't even finish it. I read like a 700-page book on the history of horses. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I read. I also like Cucumber Quest. That's kind of like the only comic I keep up with. It just can get overwhelming for me because all my friends are making comics.
That's true. I usually just read friends' comics.
Yeah, then I feel bad if I miss it, if I'm reading something other than my friends' comics.
That's true. Yep, because I could recommend our friends' comics if you want, because they're all really good.
You're literally the reason I started comics. We've been doing 100 days. Congrats. I'm glad you're working on your comics.
Yeah, that's
I hope it goes well.
awesome. Heck yeah.
Oh, infinite scrolling comics versus traditional comic pages. I just say do both. Like, it's really easy to turn a traditional page into an infinite scroll. So just start with a traditional page, turn it into an infinite scroll page, and then profit both angles. I find it's easier to turn traditional pages into infinite scroll than the other way around, but I don't know. Do both, because then you can sell books and get that infinite scroll dollar.
That's true.
What's the best comic page size? 6x9 or smaller. Just because the one printer I go to doesn't get any bigger than 6x9.
Yeah.
Whichever one you like. It's good to try and do 6x9 because like most printers do it.
Yeah, that's
like the standard comic book. I think it's actually like a trade paperback size or something.
Yeah.
Ursula, do you have any good site recommendations for medieval armor, fashion, etc.?
I watch a lot of YouTube videos on it.
Yeah. Like Shadiversity.
Shadiversity, yeah. Oh, I can picture them in my head, but I do not remember the names of most of the people I watch. I could do a dump of a bunch of them in resources after the stream on the Discord.
Yeah.
We also just keep like we have a Discord for just me and Ursula,
Yeah.
And we will have like just like a channel where we just dump links related to 9 Point and the like. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you're listening to music and a seed suddenly sparks? Yes, of course.
Yep.
That's the way. I think Cucumber Quest is the reason I'm starting comics.
Oh, Cucumber Quest is so good.
It's so true.
Makes me cry.
McKay and Gay, yeah.
Ho ho. Do you have a cord I could steal? My
It's
computer's
beside
gonna
you.
die. It's not. That's a lie.
It's in my backpack then, which is also beside you.
Never mind, not a lie. Sorry for accusing me.
Call me a liar.
Dirty liar. I mean,
Can
I'm
you-
a liar.
Can you... I have a story. I'm writing. The main villain comes in only at the end. Would it feel anticlimactic to completely out of nowhere for a readership reading a story? Well, don't make it come completely out of nowhere. Like, you just gotta, like, build up to it. Like a mystery doesn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's like foreshadowing and like hints at it, and then at the end it's surprising yet inevitable. Like, they're surprised, like, oh my god, it's the true villain, but all of like the little breadcrumbs led up to this moment, so your readers aren't like confused, is basically what you're kind of going for there.
Isn't it like the first Harry Potter
That's true.
where you don't really see Voldemort to the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know about Voldemort.
That's true. You do hear about him.
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it.
Well, you don't know that, like, Quirrell is the
Yeah.
bad guy until the end.
Yeah.
There's lots of things like that.
Oh,
like
totally.
Scooby-Doo.
Ah,
It's the mystery.
the mystery.
Like, if you see the villains, they're just usually in, like, a hood in Scooby-Doo. A story I'm right... Wait, I read that one. How do you do perspective when you draw, like, a scene of a city, buildings, it's being 3/4 down or whatever? What tools do you use?
Okay, so I usually start by
I have to
doing
go to the
it.
washroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, so I usually start by doing it roughly on paper, just to kind of like get my idea of what I'm looking for. I'll grab references too. And then what I usually do is Clip Studio Paint has perspective tools built into it, so I'll usually put those rulers on top and then correct everything. And then just like build it from there. Yeah, like I don't use any like specific perspective tools outside of that, so it's just like the Clip Studio rulers and then reference. If I'm like, I have no idea how to imagine this, let's look at stuff. Opinions on having different comic, but each of them are all connected through one big storyline. I think that is a cool idea, and you should do it if you want to. Though I feel like that's like the equivalent of doing like one big comic, so it might help to like look at it that way. But like I know what you mean. You know, that's like Pretty Mouse kinda and Magpie, where they're connected, but they're different stories. I don't know. It sounds like it's definitely a good way to get like lots of comics done, but like you keep it on brand, I guess, which is cool. But the characters don't know about the villain. It's supposed to be a major surprise. I guess I could rewrite it. Yeah, I think you just need to like foreshadow. Like you don't have to outright say, "Oh, there's this big scary villain." It's just like, you know, you gotta drop breadcrumbs about this villain. No, so people can. It's a really hard balance because you want it to be like surprising yet inevitable is like the goal. Do you use Pro or X? I use Pro. Clip Studio Pro.
You're in my spot.
Malcolm, get out of here. Come snuggle me, baby.
Leave.
Leave by getting closer to me.
Thoughts on wordless comics? They're awesome.
They're tippy toppers. I like them. How's the married life treating you? Thank you for the best question, Gabby. It's good. It's pretty much the same, except we have to get used to saying husband and wife.
Still feels like a meme.
Yeah.
We have fish now.
Oh, right. The true married life. Fish.
We have a fish harem. They're so sweet.
They're so
I
cute.
think the red girl is defo's like knocked up.
Oh.
She's like
Pregnant
she's
fish.
swell.
She's swell. She plush.
That's wait. As a cat person, you're a cat person? Do you have any sites that give trivia facts about different furry species? I would appreciate it.
I don't know.
Just research animals.
Yeah, we usually
Furry
just...
species are usually just actual species.
Yeah, true. I can tell you all about cats.
Yeah, we know everything about cats.
Oh, yes.
Pregnant.
Pregnant.
Pergurginant.
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 Pergurnant.
Gravid.
It's my favorite video.
That's such a good video, guys.
Every time I watch it, I just cry.
Smile.
Yeah. Cry with laughter.
Cry with smiles. Just got after driving
After.
driving practice.
Ooh.
After.
Are you a powerful driver?
Do you have the big drive energy?
Does this look done? It was still too messy.
Yeah, it helps if I see it.
I think it's close.
I think it's close. I think the background and stuff could use some like differentiating from her. It feels like a little flat between layers of like elements. Like, I'm not sure what that is, but that's what I'm feeling. It feels like they're like all in kind of the same softness.
Okay. Oh, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like she needs either the background needs to be blurred more, or she needs to be made more stark.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like. I feel like this doesn't feel closer. Like these all feel like the same.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can definitely see it on this side.
Yeah,
Okay.
it needs more of a rack focus.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm gonna take a break. Go work on.
Yeah. Egu is my fave. What's Egu?
Egu?
I cry every practice, but I'm getting there.
Oh, you can do it. Driving was really scary, but it gets really easy.
You guys are so amazing. We ran out of questions. You'll
We
be
powered
back.
through those.
More
Dang.
questions. You don't have to ask comic questions.
Yeah.
We can answer every question in the universe.
Every hacking quest.
As long as it's appropriate.
Yeah.
I cry every time I practice. How do you guys feel right now? My throat is tired.
Same. Can you give me a spritzy water
Yeah, sure.
with tea in it?
If it's cold, yeah.
Okay.
I feel really happy because I have my fish. And I have to come up with names for them.
Oh, right. We had 3 fish. So we got...
Don't name them for me, guys.
Yeah, if you name them, Bones will not take any of the names because he doesn't like suggestions. But we got little platies. They're little fishies. And one has like little black and white spots. She looks kind of like a cow pattern. And we have a little red-orange girl with like a black fin and a black tail. And then we have a boy who's like... He's like a gradient from like gold to orange. He looks kind of like a tequila sunrise. So those are our babies and we need names for them. How did you figure out you were LGBT? We both actually have videos about our kind of...
I didn't say how I found out.
Oh, he didn't... Okay, Bones didn't talk about how he found out, but... So for me, it was kind of like... I first learned about LGBT stuff through, like, comics and romance and seeing, like, gay couples in books and stories. And then I had friends and I had crushes on them. And then I found out what, like, bi was, and I was like, oh, I'm bi. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, confusion. I'm bi.
And then the more I got into LGBT culture and learning about stuff, I was like, okay, I guess I'm more pan. But pan and bi are pretty much the same. from what I can tell. And Bones, do you want to tell your story? Next Pride. Okay. But yeah, for me, a lot of it was just like I'd have like a best friend, and then it was like, oh no, she's not my best friend. I'm in love with her. And then for me, it worked out because the one girl in high school, I dated her, and then I met Bones, and I liked him as well. We were best friends, and then I was like, I like you, and then we dated. I was 6, afraid of 7, because 7 is a horrible serial murderer.
Because 6 is racist.
What?
Ever think of that?
Whoa, 6. Michael, don't jerk around and knock our tea out of our hands, please.
I took your cow mug. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
Egu is a video of a guy putting an egu. Oh, yeah, I love that one. Would you ever stop YouTube? YouTube is unstoppable. I don't think 2 gays could possibly bring YouTube down.
Would you ever stop YouTube? Oh my god. That's like our discussion. Quebec keeping us away from Newfoundland. Newfoundland's coming for you, and the only thing stopping it is Quebec. I'm working on my first commissions. Do you have any tips on stop stressing out about the fact you're drawing for someone else? That's hard. I still do that sometimes.
Would we stop YouTube though? Probably not. We probably won't stop YouTube.
Oh, right.
Not in the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you guys really piss us off.
Yeah.
Or YouTube does. Either
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Right now we like YouTube. It's treating us well.
Mm-hmm.
I like the format. I like making videos.
Specific and long question? Okay, we'll see. I can't guarantee I'll give you a good answer.
What are some good... Sorry, I missed a few up top. What are some good reasons for characters breaking the fourth wall and speaking directly to the reader?
Humor. It would be funny, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually just a humorous thing. I break the fourth wall in different ways, but it's usually humor related. Oh, they're all together. They're such a good family.
They're like checking out the heater and they're like, what is this?
What is this? Just a boy and his 2 wives.
Like, I know... I forget what the movie is called, but it's like... It's a very violent movie, and the person committing the violence tends to, like, look at the screen and address the audience, and apparently it's just kind of, like, critiquing people who watch violent movies. So it all depends on your...
Yeah, it's not always humor, but usually
Yeah.
it's humor. It's fine. If you have a good reason to do it, if you can justify it, go right ahead. Deadpool, yeah.
Yep.
Deadpool. Got any tips on how to not get distracted? Don't live stream while you're trying to make a comic.
Yep.
Unless that actually keeps you focused, because sometimes I like doing the work sessions on Discord, where it's just like group work sessions, where it's just we share a timer,
Yeah.
but we can't really talk to each other. I find like looking into like any advice for people with ADHD is usually like the best advice for not being distracted. But maybe that says more about me.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you need to kind of address why you're distracted. Because sometimes for me, it's like I'm distracted because I'm not feeling confident about my art, and so I'm avoiding doing it. So just maybe like working on being more confident about my art is what I need at that moment. And sometimes it's just like, you know, I've had a stressful day and I just want to decompress and not do something that requires a lot of brain thinkiness. So sometimes you need to address that stuff, and sometimes you just need to turn the internet off and just work. And setting timers helps. I'm actually prepping my commission info. Anything you think I should for sure have on there other than prices?
Samples.
Samples, yes. Yeah. Show what you can do.
Don't overcomplicate your commission thing.
Yeah.
Like, be very specific about what you do, and then I usually I don't know. I like gimmicky commission things, honestly, but that's just me. But it's just be very specific. Don't overcomplicate it. Maybe have 3 options, and that's it. Because people are more likely to buy when they're not confused. And just because you might offer more things, but just add a fine print where it's if you want something else, we can discuss prices from there. It also gives you more room to charge higher for custom orders.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you're just oh, character, yeah.
Yeah, because it can be because people break it up into different categories or whatever. Some people are color versus black and white, and some people are a bust versus a full body or whatever.
Yeah, I find if you
styles.
add too much stuff, it just gets complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier. Some of the easiest stuff to do is usually I'm doing a bust sale.
Yeah.
Summer or bust.
I find that works well for us.
Yeah.
Because we.
But we're probably not the persons to ask about this because we hate commissions.
Yeah, true. There are definitely other artists who do them regularly who can give you better advice. But as
we're
someone
convention commissioners.
Yeah.
Way more.
Because at conventions, I just like to have one sign that's this is what it is. Talk to me.
Yeah.
Because having here's option 1, here's option 2, here's option 3, people look at it and get overwhelmed and leave.
Yeah, usually with us it's $60 commission flat. That's it. I don't even do discounts per character unless they ask.
Yeah.
Cause
you could also A/B test things.
Yeah.
Where you could be you could have one option where you just put out a post that's doing bust sketches and that it has one price and one option, and then you could do one where it shows everything you do and just see which one gets more responses.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. It's a lot of trial and error at first.
Oh man, this question is over a lot of things. Okay, so each chapter of my comic is a different story, sometimes with different protagonists, so the reader can choose chapters they like and read them separately. But there are some plot points that are repeated in every chapter because they are a part of the world. So do I have to repeat them in every chapter? Man, that's a really complicated story that you are creating. Not that that's a bad thing, sorry. I think your best bet would be to look into cinematic universes and how they handle things, and try looking at them and how they dissect making overarching plots, while having Marvel's probably a good example. It's not even cinematic universes. Comic books do that too, where all these plot threads come up and some people can just read about some characters. That's basically what you would be doing, is something similar like that.
Mm-hmm.
So dissect that, learn how they work, become more powerful than them.
Yeah.
How can I stop my eraser from being borrowed by goblins every 5 minutes?
Are goblins younger siblings? Or cats?
Never erase.
Never erase.
Just be...
Start drawing in pen.
Yeah.
Who needs an eraser?
Exclusively ink.
Opinions and thoughts on D&D. I want to play it.
Yeah.
We've done group RPs like that in the past, and they're fun.
Yeah.
I like them.
It's a cute kitten you're drawing.
She's crying. I need my reference open, but it's in Clip Studio, and I don't want to open it and transfer it and all that stuff. So I'll do it later. Because, I need to reference what the room looks like, because I don't remember. And I remember it got redesigned, so... but after I did thumbnails. So I could work on some colors with page 1.
No, you can't.
Hmm.
Because you need them approved, and I want to add birds.
Oh, wait. Oh, here's one I could work on. Oh, but I have to get the reference out. Heck. Heck dang. Is there anything I missed?
Sorry, why can't you work on...
Because I need
references?
to get references for the backgrounds.
Well, where are the references?
They're in Clip Studio. I guess I should just open it.
Just open Clip Studio.
Christ. I don't want to do things.
That poo.
Character
development. Just thoughts. I don't know, that's like... plot. Your thoughts. It's a big part of stories.
Is there anything specific you want to know?
I'm a fan of it.
I like
I
it.
like characters that develop. I love my fish. I just love them, guys. The girl and the guy are just like hanging.
Oh, they're fans. They kiss them.
I'm just so happy that they are alive and they like my new tank.
Yeah, they're chilling.
They're like about it. They're like, yeah, this is our home.
Heck yeah. We got so much space.
I like that the spotty girl is just like, I don't hang with you guys.
Get out of here.
You're not my kind.
Wow.
The kind of friend.
Wow.
They're like into sports and she's...
Sport.
She doesn't know what to say. She just likes to explore. She's like, let's go on a jog. And they're like, can we play basketball instead? And she's like, I don't want to just stare at asphalt. Sorry. Just
You're
how...
killing me.
I love my fish, Bones. I love my fish. How do you do them? How do you execute them well? Character development usually comes down to like the usual kind of plotting stuff, but it's like a journey, right? Like if your story is about a little fish making their way home, it's just Finding Nemo. But like they start in one place, they end in another. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, except you're going from one emotional state to the other. You know, there's gonna be things in your way. Things that stop you from being a good person if your problem is that you're bad. If you're a timid type, they're gonna fail. You know, sometimes they're gonna still be timid until the end, where they get past their shyness and they do it. Bones needs a new fish sauna. I don't identify as a fish. I'm just a fish lord. I'm lord of the fishes.
Lord fish. I'm a fish lord. Put that on my tombstone.
Fish Lord McKay. Legit need to write a story about his fish. Pacing differs from story to story. I'm writing 3 stories that take place in the same universe, but each one takes place in a different time period of the universe. That helps simplifies things for me. They're talking about their stuff.
Chit-chat.
When they swim, their little, what's the back fin called? I don't know, but it motors. It just wiggles super fast. Like she's in the current right now. She's like, tick, 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 tick.
Oh, she's cute.
She's just motoring around. Like she's busy.
Zoom, zoom.
Meanwhile, the guy just kind of floats and just occasionally goes, tick, tick. I like how they just got, they got such personality, guys.
Yeah, they're really cute.
Like sometimes they're apart and then they all come together and like check in.
Yeah. I've got a big tank to explore.
Yeah. God, they had so many platies there, so they were like, you know, now they're getting used to their new life.
I think the boy just got pushed in the current. He was like, oh no.
He's like constantly kind of getting pushed in the current.
You're too strong.
He's like a little lazy, I think.
I think so.
How do I stop eating peanut M&Ms?
Oh,
That's
same.
literally us right now. We have a
Yeah.
giant Costco bag of them.
Oh, it's so
It's
hard.
impossible.
They're just always there.
The tail fin, maybe. Is it just the tail? I don't know. Guys, let's learn fish anatomy together. Fish
It's like the Twitch streams.
anatomy. The Twitch streams are amazing.
You ever want to just talk about like?
Oh, we were supposed to stop the stream half an hour ago.
Whoops. Okay, let's go to 3:30. 5 more minutes.
Yeah, 5 more minutes, guys.
Whoops. And we're gonna go watch movies.
We gotta go watch Pokemon.
So if you want to watch movies with us and you're not a patron, you gotta go become a patron.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it up for the dollar patrons too, if anyone's interested.
Okay.
We want more friends, because I don't even
Mm.
know if Ace... Is it Hex or Ace or one of them?
Hex.
Yeah.
Hexen and...
We need friends.
Who's the other one who always shows up?
No, they dropped their pledge.
Oh, never mind.
Finally, your stream gave me inspiration for cat character's name. I'm gonna call him Fish. Fish the cat. That's
Bless.
adorable.
I can make this easy on myself. I'm gonna trace my old work.
There you gotta go.
Smart girl.
This is where you have to add all the characters, right?
Yeah. All the heckin'...
Yeah, you're
Genius.
making like a whole scene here.
Yeah. This is intense. No wonder I was putting it off. I was like, no, thank you. Goodbye.
No.
No. No thanks.
Should not to be. Dorsal apparatus.
You're a dorsal. Okay, let's do these.
Just borps. Okay,
Warp.
so they have the spiny dorsal fin on top, followed by the soft dorsal fin. Okay, so the back fin is called the caudal fin. The caudal fin. And then, then the there's like where the caudal fin attaches to the fish is called the peduncle.
The peduncle.
Question from Kuro. How do you know when you've done enough prep work? When you feel like you're starting to just make prep work for the sake of making prep work, and you're just too scared
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah, true.
When you feel like
Meow.
maybe I'm just putting things off, that's when you have enough.
Yep. If you got all your characters, you got your big settings.
Yeah, you got all the stuff that was mentioned, and you're like, I don't know.
You're like, oh, maybe I need to design all the wine cups on the dining table. It's like, okay.
The snail was evil. The snail probably didn't kill your fish. Probably, I assume. Unless it really changed your water chemistry somehow. Tips on writing writing or drawing action scenes.
The cats are fighting right now. You can just hear little me. Guys,
alone.
be nice.
She doesn't want your advances. She doesn't want to play with you.
I don't know. How do you write action scenes?
I don't know. You just gotta think about like the plot aspects of it rather than the blow by blow of things. You gotta make things interesting. Gotta focus on the scenery, how you implement that. Yeah, it's hard. I'm not really great at it. I think a lot of like the actual like thinking about like the blocking of how it happens more in thumbnails than the script. But for the script, you just need to know what happens.
Yeah, and like the purpose of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pectoral fins. Fish have pecs. Pelvic fins. Anal fins. Mouth. They have nostrils.
It's okay. You can ask us questions. That's why we're doing this stream, Cena.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The characters are coming to life. I hear cats.
Though we don't really have any time left because it's literally a minute till it's over.
Right.
So save all your questions, all the questions we didn't have time to answer. Next Saturday, it'll be the same thing. It'll go longer because we'll probably play games.
Yeah.
No, wait. It's critique stream. Sorry. Next Saturday.
Right, the critique stream.
Yeah. Next Saturday, we'll be critiquing people's comic pages and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you want that, you have to be an $8 patron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you can...
So, yeah, we're gonna go and watch anime.
Woohoo!
If you're on, like, the mod squad, you're also invited.
Yeah.
You can watch, Pokemon with us. Because
Mod
we don't want to
squad.
watch it alone.
Yeah.
We usually watch 2 episodes, so that's what we're gonna go to.
Yep. So just message us if you're interested.
No,
mods.
don't worry about it. The mods are already able to go into the patron-only chat, and that's where we're gonna talk about it.
Oh, I'm a fool.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't listen to me. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks
We're gonna
for
set
coming,
up.
guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys next time.
See you later.